In 1979, a series of brutal crimes in Southern California shocked even seasoned investigators. The perpetrators were two young men who targeted teenage girls, leaving behind one of the most disturbing criminal cases in American history. They became known as the toolbox killers. The men responsible were Lawrence Bittaker and Roy Norris, a deadly partnership. Bittaker and Norris met while serving time in prison in the mid-1970s. After their release, they reconnected in Los Angeles and began forming plans to abduct teenage girls. They used a van to lure victims, often offering rides. Once inside, the girls were restrained. The nickname Toolbox Killers came from the tools they used to harm their victims, out of respect and safety. The specific details are not described here. The victims. Over the course of several months in 1979, 5 teenage girls were murdered. Their disappearances created fear throughout Southern California. Parents warned their children about strangers. Hitchhiking, already risky, became even more frightening. Investigators initially struggled to connect the cases, but eventually, evidence began to point toward the van and its owners. A key break. The case unraveled when Roy Norris was arrested for an unrelated assault. Facing serious charges, he began cooperating with police. Norris provided details about the crimes and led authorities to evidence that confirmed the murders. His testimony became central to the prosecution's case against both men. The trial revealed the extent of the violence and planning involved. Sentencing. In 1981, Lawrence Bittaker was convicted and sentenced to death. Roy Norris received multiple life sentences in exchange for his testimony. Bittaker remained on death row until his death in 2019. Norris died in prison in 2020. Why this case is remembered. The Toolbox Killers case is remembered not only because of its brutality, but because it highlighted the danger posed by repeat offenders who escalate over time. It also marked a turning point in public awareness about the risks of accepting rides from strangers, the importance of connecting missing person cases, the need for stronger communication between law enforcement agencies, a dark chapter in crime history. Unlike unsolved mysteries, this case ended with convictions. But the memory of the victims and the fear that spread through California in 1979 remains part of true crime history. It stands as a sobering reminder of how calculated violence can hide in plain sight, and how investigative persistence eventually